Hidden beneath the rolling hills of Ohio lie secrets older than the state itself. Forgotten civilizations, mysterious earthworks, and tales that defy the history books. Join us as we uncover the truth behind Ohio's ancient past, from unexplained structures to legends passed down through generations. Serpent Mound, Ohio's great prehistoric enigma. In the rolling hills of Adams County, Ohio, lies one of the most fascinating and mysterious archaeological structures in North America, Serpent Mound. Recognized as the world's largest effigy mound, Serpent Mound stretches more than 1,348 feet in length and winds across a ridgetop in the shape of a coiled serpent. Its immense scale, enigmatic origins, and precise alignment with celestial events have intrigued archaeologists, historians, and spiritual seekers for generations. The question of who built Serpent Mound has puzzled researchers for more than a century. Early assumptions linked the structure to the Adena culture, which flourished in Ohio between 1000 BCE and 200 BCE. This theory was supported by the presence of nearby burial mounds that are attributed to the Adena. However, more recent radiocarbon dating of materials found within the mound points to a later construction date, around 1070 CE. This newer timeline suggests that the Fort Ancient culture, which existed in the region from 1000 to 1650 CE, may have been responsible for its creation. Some scholars propose that the mound could have been a collaborative or multi-generational project, potentially beginning with the Adena and later modified or completed by the Fort Ancient people. Regardless of its exact builders, Serpent Mound was clearly more than just a piece of monumental art. It served a ceremonial, spiritual, or astronomical function. Scholars have long noted the mound's alignment with significant solar and lunar events. The head of the serpent appears to point directly to the setting sun on the summer solstice, while other points along the serpent's body align with the winter solstice and the equinoxes. These alignments suggest that the mound may have served as a calendar or observatory, allowing ancient peoples to track celestial movements and time the seasons for planting, harvesting, and ceremonial activities. Equally fascinating is the oval shape near the serpent's head, which has sparked various interpretations. Some believe it represents an egg, symbolizing creation or rebirth, while others argue it could represent the sun, a common sacred symbol in indigenous cosmology. Across many Native American traditions, the serpent is a powerful symbol associated with transformation, renewal, fertility, and the underworld. The combination of the serpent and the solar alignment suggests a deeply spiritual understanding of the connection between the earth, sky, and human life. Adding to the mystery is the fact that Serpent Mound was built atop a 300-million-year-old meteorite impact crater known as the Serpent Mound disturbance. This geological feature is one of the few ancient impact sites in North America. While it is unclear whether the mound's builders understood the cosmic significance of the terrain, its placement on such a unique geological formation has led to speculation about ancient knowledge of Earth energies or celestial events. Unlike typical burial mounds of the era, Serpent Mound contains no human remains within its structure. However, nearby conical burial mounds suggest that the site was part of a sacred ceremonial landscape used by multiple cultures over time. The labor required to construct Serpent Mound, moving and shaping tons of earth without modern tools, indicates its immense cultural and spiritual importance. Today, Serpent Mound is a protected National Historic Landmark, managed by the Arc of Appalachia and the Ohio History Connection. It attracts thousands of visitors each year who come to walk the perimeter trail, view the mound from observation towers, and learn about the ancient cultures of Ohio. Efforts continue to study, preserve, and interpret this extraordinary site, which remains one of North America's most enduring prehistoric mysteries. In conclusion, Serpent Mound stands as a testament to the ingenuity and spiritual depth of the ancient peoples of Ohio. Though many questions about its purpose and origin remain unanswered, its presence offers a profound glimpse into the worldview of those who came long before us. Hopewell Ceremonial Earthworks, the legacy of an ancient civilization. Stretching across southern Ohio, the Hopewell Ceremonial Earthworks represent one of the most extraordinary achievements of pre-Columbian North America. This network of 8 ancient sites, recently designated as UNESCO World Heritage Sites, includes immense geometric earthworks built between 100 BCE and 400 CE by the Hopewell culture. These impressive constructions, which span more than 150 kilometers, reveal a deep understanding of geometry, astronomy, and social organization that challenges many long-held assumptions about ancient indigenous peoples of the Ohio River Valley. The Hopewell Ceremonial Earthworks include sites such as Mound City, Seip Earthworks, Hopewell Mound Group, and the Newark Earthworks. These structures are not simple burial mounds, but complex ceremonial landscapes. The Hopewell people constructed enormous enclosures in the shapes of circles, squares, and octagons, some spanning hundreds of meters across, often made by stacking layers of soil with precise engineering. These earthworks were laid out with a degree of accuracy that rivals the geometry of the ancient pyramids or Stonehenge. One of the most striking aspects of the Hopewell earthworks is their alignment with celestial events. At the Newark Earthworks, for example, the octagon and circle earthworks align precisely with an 18.6-year lunar cycle, tracking the movements of the moon in a way that requires both long-term observation and advanced astronomical knowledge. These alignments suggest that the Hopewell used the structures as observatories or ceremonial calendars, timing important events such as solstices, lunar standstills, or seasonal ceremonies. In addition to their geometric precision and astronomical function, these sites also served as centers of trade, burial, and ritual. Archaeological excavations have revealed the remains of cremated individuals, elaborately constructed tombs, and a wealth of grave goods, including copper ornaments, carved mica, obsidian blades from the Rocky Mountains, and marine shells from the Gulf Coast. These artifacts demonstrate the existence of an extensive trade network and a highly developed ceremonial life. Though the Hopewell culture eventually declined around 500 CE, the earthworks they left behind continued to influence indigenous peoples for centuries. Later groups, such as the Fort Ancient culture, reused some of these ceremonial sites, preserving a spiritual continuity within the Ohio Valley. Modern understanding of the Hopewell earthworks has evolved significantly over the past century. Once thought to be the work of a lost race, it is now firmly established that these structures were created by the ancestors of modern Native American tribes. The recognition of these sites as UNESCO World Heritage Sites in 2023 marks a significant step in honoring the contributions and legacy of indigenous cultures in North America. Today, the Hopewell Ceremonial Earthworks are managed by the National Park Service and the Ohio History Connection, which continue to preserve, study, and interpret these ancient landscapes. Visitors to sites like Mound City in Chillicothe or the Great Circle Earthwork in Newark can walk among these massive constructions, gaining a sense of the scale, precision, and sacred purpose that define them. In conclusion, the Hopewell Ceremonial Earthworks are more than archaeological sites. They are monuments to a culture of vision, unity, and cosmic understanding. Through their careful design and astronomical precision, the Hopewell people left a legacy that continues to inspire and educate, offering us a window into the spiritual and intellectual life of one of North America's most remarkable ancient civilizations. Alligator Effigy Mound, a sacred symbol of the ancient world. Nestled in the hills near Granville, Ohio, the Alligator Effigy Mound stands as one of the most enigmatic and sacred earthworks left behind by ancient Native American cultures. This unique effigy mound, believed to have been constructed between AD 800 and 1200, is one of only 2 known effigy mounds in the state of Ohio. Shaped like a sprawling creature, commonly interpreted as an alligator, it reflects the deep spiritual and symbolic traditions of the Fort ancient culture who likely built it. Though its exact meaning remains uncertain, the mound is widely accepted to have served a ceremonial or religious function. At approximately 250 feet long and 76 feet wide, the Alligator Mound presents a distinct 4-limbed creature with an extended tail and open-jawed head, resembling a powerful animal guarding the landscape. While often referred to as an alligator, this term may be a misinterpretation. Many archaeologists and indigenous scholars believe the effigy more likely represents a mythological creature, perhaps a panther, underwater serpent, or spirit guardian. In Native American cosmology, such creatures are often associated with the underworld, water, transformation, and spiritual power. Unlike other mounds constructed for burial purposes, the Alligator Effigy Mound contains no human remains or grave goods. This strongly suggests its purpose was ceremonial rather than funerary. It may have served as a site for seasonal rituals, spiritual offerings, or astronomical observation. The mound is strategically placed on a high ridge overlooking the Raccoon Creek Valley, giving it commanding views of the surrounding land. This elevated placement further emphasizes its spiritual importance and may have symbolized a link between the earth and the spirit world. The culture most closely associated with the Alligator Mound is the Fort ancient people who lived in the Ohio River Valley from around AD 1000 to 1650. Though distinct from the earlier Hopewell and Adena cultures, the Fort ancient civilization inherited and expanded upon many of their ceremonial traditions, especially in mound building practices. The construction of a massive effigy like the Alligator Mound would have required the coordinated labor of a community, working with primitive tools to move and shape tons of earth with remarkable precision. Such an effort underscores the mound's social and religious significance. Symbolism plays a crucial role in understanding effigy mounds. Across many Native American traditions, animal effigies represent spiritual beings or mythological figures that guide, protect, or challenge human life. The creature depicted at Granville may symbolize a guardian of the land, a deity of the underworld, or a spirit invoked during specific rituals. Some scholars have even suggested that the mound could mark territorial boundaries or spiritual portals, serving both practical and metaphysical roles within the ancient community. Today, the Alligator Effigy Mound is preserved as a public park and archaeological landmark, open to visitors interested in ancient history and indigenous heritage. Interpretive signs at the site help explain the mound's features, construction, and cultural background. Unlike the more famous Serpent Mound, the Alligator Mound has received less public attention, but it is no less important in terms of cultural insight and historical significance. Ongoing preservation and respectful education about the Alligator Mound are vital. As with many ancient indigenous sites in North America, the interpretation and stewardship of such landmarks should involve collaboration with Native American communities who maintain spiritual and ancestral ties to these sacred places. In conclusion, the Alligator Effigy Mound is a profound testament to the spiritual imagination, artistic expression, and engineering skills of the Fort ancient people. Though the full meaning of the mound remains a mystery, its enduring presence invites modern viewers to consider the deep connections between land, culture, and the cosmos that shaped the beliefs of ancient Native Americans. As both a cultural artifact and sacred site, it stands as a lasting symbol of Ohio's prehistoric heritage. Marietta Earthworks, a gateway into Hopewell ceremonial life. The ancient Marietta Earthworks, located at the confluence of the Muskingum and Ohio rivers in Washington County, Ohio, are a remarkable, though partially lost, testament to the Hopewell culture, one of North America's most spiritually and architecturally advanced prehistoric civilizations. Constructed between 100 BCE and 400 CE, these earthworks once formed a sprawling ceremonial complex of platform mounds, ditches, and geometric enclosures. Although modern development has significantly impacted the original layout, the surviving features continue to shed light on the ritual and social life of the ancient peoples who built them. The Hopewell culture, which flourished in the Ohio River Valley during the Middle Woodland period, is renowned for its massive earthworks, sophisticated trade networks, and ceremonial practices. Unlike agricultural or military societies, the Hopewell placed immense importance on spiritual observance, death rituals, and astronomical phenomena, often expressing these values through monumental landscape architecture. The Marietta Earthworks exemplified this ceremonial complexity. When the site was first documented in the late 18th century by surveyors and early settlers, the Marietta Earthworks included multiple large platform mounds, circular and rectangular enclosures, and parallel walls forming processional pathways. The most notable surviving elements today are Capitolium Mound, also known as Burchenal Mound, and Conus Mound, located within what is now Mound Cemetery. These remaining mounds were incorporated into the city's original design and protected, at least in part, due to early American interest in antiquities. Capitolium Mound, a large flat-topped platform mound, may have served as a ceremonial or leadership platform. Its structure suggests that it supported a wooden structure or temple, used for ritual activity or gatherings of social or spiritual leaders. Meanwhile, Conus Mound, which remains intact and measures approximately 30 feet in height and 100 feet in diameter, is believed to be a burial mound containing the remains of high-status individuals or spiritual leaders. Burial mounds like Conus are a key feature of Hopewell ceremonialism, often containing elaborate grave goods such as copper ornaments, obsidian tools, shell beads, and ceremonial pipes, many of which originated from distant regions, demonstrating a far-reaching trade and cultural exchange network. The placement of the Marietta Earthworks at the confluence of two major rivers was likely intentional and symbolically significant. For many indigenous cultures, the meeting of rivers was considered a sacred or liminal space, a place where the natural and spiritual worlds intersect. The Hopewell people may have chosen the site not only for its strategic geography, but for its cosmological meaning, using it as a center for seasonal ceremonies, social gatherings, and spiritual rites. Unfortunately, much of the Marietta Earthworks was lost to urban expansion during the 19th and 20th centuries. Roads, homes, and businesses were constructed over large portions of the original. Today, the surviving portions of the Marietta Earthworks are protected in parks and cemeteries and are marked by historical signs that educate visitors about their significance. The preservation of Mound Cemetery, where Conus Mound stands, also serves as a unique space where the burial traditions of early Native Americans and American pioneers are juxtaposed, symbolizing a layered historical narrative. In conclusion, the Marietta Earthworks represent a powerful, though fragmented, legacy of the Hopewell civilization's ceremonial landscape. These ancient mounds and enclosures remind us of a time when the land itself was shaped as a sacred canvas, expressing the spiritual beliefs and social order of one of North America's most innovative indigenous cultures. Through continued preservation and respectful interpretation, sites like Marietta offer invaluable insights into our continent's rich prehistoric past. Newark Earthworks, a monument to ancient astronomy and ceremony. Located in Licking County, Ohio, the Newark Earthworks represent one of the most extraordinary examples of ancient indigenous architecture and cosmology in North America. Built by the Hopewell culture between 100 BCE and 400 CE, the Newark Earthworks once formed the largest set of connected geometric earthworks in the world. Today, they remain a central feature of the Hopewell Ceremonial Earthworks, designated as a UNESCO World Heritage Site in 2023. Composed of several major elements, the Great Circle, the Octagon Earthworks, and Wright Earthworks, this ancient complex showcases the Hopewell people's sophisticated knowledge of geometry, astronomy, and ceremonial design. At its height, the Newark Earthworks complex spanned over 4 square miles, incorporating precise geometric shapes and long, earthen avenues that connected ceremonial spaces. The surviving components are impressive in both size and accuracy. The Great Circle earthwork, for example, is nearly 1,200 feet in diameter and enclosed by walls approximately 14 feet high, with a wide interior ditch. At its center lies a large mound that may have been used for ritual purposes or as a platform for ceremonial leaders. This circle is believed to have served as a sacred gathering place where rituals, astronomical observations, and seasonal ceremonies were conducted. Even more remarkable is the Octagon Earthworks, a connected system of an octagonal enclosure and a circular earthwork, linked by parallel walls. The octagon alone covers nearly 50 acres and demonstrates an extraordinary understanding of astronomical cycles. Researchers have discovered that the octagon's layout aligns precisely with the 18.6-year lunar cycle, a phenomenon known as the Major Lunar Standstill. This cycle, which tracks the moon's extreme northern and southern rise and set points, is difficult to observe and record, yet the Hopewell people managed to encode it into Earth and space. The Octagon Earthworks functioned as an ancient lunar observatory, marking a level of scientific achievement and spiritual insight on par with Stonehenge or the pyramids of Egypt. The Wright Earthworks, although more eroded and fragmented today, also formed part of this ceremonial landscape. They include portions of long parallel walls and a large square enclosure that likely had its own spiritual or ritual significance. These geometric shapes were not arbitrary. Rather, they symbolized cosmic order, mirroring the harmony between the earth and the heavens that was central to Hopewell belief systems. The Newark Earthworks were not simply monuments or observatories. They were living, sacred spaces. The immense effort required to build these structures, with only rudimentary tools, baskets, and manpower, speaks to the central importance of these sites in Hopewell society. Excavations at and near the earthworks have uncovered exotic materials such as obsidian from the Rocky Mountains, mica from the Appalachian region, and marine shells from the Gulf Coast. These materials were often fashioned into ceremonial items, suggesting that Newark was a hub of both ritual activity and long-distance trade. Today, the Newark Earthworks are preserved and interpreted by the Ohio History Connection and are part of an ongoing dialogue between scientists, historians, indigenous communities, and the public. While much of the land has been altered or developed, parts of the Octagon Earthworks are currently located within a country club. Efforts continue to ensure respectful access and preservation of this sacred landscape. The recent World Heritage designation has brought renewed attention and international recognition to the site's value. In conclusion, the Newark Earthworks stand as a profound symbol of ancient Native American ingenuity, spiritual depth, and astronomical mastery. Far more than remnants of a forgotten past, They represent a sophisticated worldview that saw the cosmos, the landscape, and human ceremony as intimately connected. As we continue to study and preserve these sites, they offer a powerful reminder of the intellectual and cultural legacy of the Hopewell people and their enduring influence on North America's ancient heritage. Mound City, a sacred necropolis of the Hopewell culture. Located along the banks of the Scioto River in Ross County, Ohio, Mound City is one of the most significant archaeological sites associated with the ancient Hopewell culture. Comprising a carefully planned concentration of burial mounds and earthworks, Mound City offers invaluable insight into the ceremonial practices, social structure, and belief systems of the Hopewell people, who flourished in the Ohio River Valley between 100 BCE and 400 CE. As part of the Hopewell Culture National Historical Park, Mound City is not only a historical treasure, but also a powerful symbol of indigenous heritage and spiritual life. Mound City consists of a large rectangular enclosure, about 13 acres in size, containing 23 conical mounds, each varying in height and diameter. These mounds were not randomly placed. Rather, their layout reflects deliberate spatial planning, suggesting ritual or cosmological significance. The entire complex was constructed with precision and care, using only primitive tools such as digging sticks, clamshell hoes, and woven baskets to move massive amounts of soil. This labor-intensive process reflects the central importance of ritual and community cooperation in Hopewell society. What distinguishes Mound City from many other prehistoric sites is its clear funerary purpose. Extensive excavations, particularly those conducted in the early 20th century by archaeologist Warren K. Moorhead, revealed that the mounds were constructed over charnel houses, wooden structures where bodies were cremated or prepared for burial. After the cremation ceremonies, the remains and associated grave goods were interred, and a mound of earth was built over the structure to honor the deceased. The artifacts found at Mound City are among the most elaborate and diverse ever recovered from a Hopewell site. These include intricately carved stone pipes, copper breastplates, bear and shark teeth, obsidian blades from the Rocky Mountains, and mica cutouts believed to represent spiritual symbols. Such items were not simply decorative. They carried deep symbolic meaning, likely used in rituals to honor the dead and invoke spiritual forces. The wide geographic origins of these artifacts also demonstrate the Hopewell people's participation in a vast trade network that stretched across much of North America. Mound City provides compelling evidence that the Hopewell culture was not a centralized empire, but rather a loosely connected network of communities linked by shared religious beliefs and ceremonial practices. The site likely served as a regional ceremonial center where people from various groups gathered for spiritual events, funerals, and social exchanges. This collaborative use of sacred space illustrates a culture rooted in communal spirituality, ritual cooperation, and cosmological harmony. The site's importance was recognized as early as the 19th century, but it suffered significant damage during World War I when it was used as a training ground by the U.S. Army. Fortunately, much of the site has since been restored and preserved, and it now stands as a centerpiece of the Hopewell Culture National Historical Park. The park includes an interpretive center where visitors can learn about the history, art, and science behind the Hopewell civilization and explore reconstructions of the original burial mounds. Today, Mound City serves not only as a historical landmark, but also as a place of remembrance and reflection. For Native American communities with ancestral ties to the Hopewell, it remains a sacred space that embodies cultural identity and continuity. For archaeologists and historians, it offers a rare window into a complex and spiritual society that valued both earthly craftsmanship and celestial alignment. In conclusion, Mound City stands as one of the most complete and enlightening examples of Hopewell ceremonial architecture and mortuary practice. Its mounds, artifacts, and cultural significance provide profound insights into a people whose legacy continues to shape our understanding of ancient America. Preserved with care and studied with reverence, Mound City is a lasting tribute to the ingenuity, spirituality, and artistry of the Hopewell culture. Seip Earthworks, monumental geometry and Hopewell spirituality. Situated in the fertile valleys of Ross County, Ohio, the Seip Earthworks stand as a powerful testament to the ceremonial life and architectural genius of the Hopewell culture, which flourished in the Ohio River Valley between 100 BCE and 400 CE. Part of the larger group of Hopewell ceremonial earthworks, the Seip site is especially notable for its scale, geometric precision, and its impressive central burial mound, known as Seip Mound. This sacred landscape offers profound insights into the social organization, cosmological beliefs, and ritual life of one of prehistoric North America's most advanced indigenous cultures. At the heart of the Seip Earthworks is Seip Mound, an enormous conical burial structure that originally stood approximately 30 feet tall and extended over 240 feet in length. As one of the largest burial mounds constructed by the Hopewell people, it dominates the ceremonial landscape. Excavations have revealed that the mound was built in stages, often over the remains of wooden mortuary structures used for cremation and burial rituals. These ceremonial processes were accompanied by the placement of elaborate grave goods, such as copper ornaments, stone pipes, effigy figures, mica cutouts, and obsidian blades, many of which were imported from distant regions, indicating widespread trade networks and cultural exchange. Surrounding Seip Mound are the remnants of an immense geometric earthwork enclosure. The full enclosure originally formed a nearly perfect circle, approximately 1,200 feet in diameter, connected to a square and smaller circular enclosure by long, straight earthen walls. This layout mirrors the characteristic precision and symbolism found throughout other Hopewell ceremonial centers, including Newark and Mound City. The purpose of these geometric designs likely extended beyond simple function. They reflected cosmological principles and spiritual order, symbolizing the connection between earth and sky, the living and the dead. The massive scale and uniformity of the Seip Earthworks suggest that the site served as a major ceremonial hub, likely drawing visitors from throughout the region. The combination of burial features and geometric enclosures implies that Seip was used for funerals, rituals, seasonal gatherings, and spiritual observances. The positioning of certain walls and mounds also hints at astronomical alignments, possibly corresponding to solar or lunar events, though more research is needed to fully decode the site's celestial functions. Excavations of Seip Mound have provided some of the most detailed archaeological data available about the Hopewell culture. Burial remains found within the mound show signs of social stratification, with higher status individuals receiving more elaborate burials and grave offerings. The craftsmanship of the artifacts, especially the artistry of the copperwork and carved stone, speaks to a highly skilled society that placed great importance on ceremonial symbolism, sacred objects, and spiritual communication with the cosmos. Today, much of the Seip Earthworks have been partially reconstructed and preserved as part of the Hopewell Culture National Historical Park, administered by the National Park Service. Visitors can walk interpretive trails that trace the outlines of the ancient enclosures, view a reconstructed section of Seip Mound, and explore exhibits that highlight the artistry, beliefs, and complexity of Hopewell ceremonial life. Educational programs and indigenous-led initiatives continue to bring awareness to the cultural significance of the site and its continued importance to Native communities. In conclusion, the Seip Earthworks represent one of the most ambitious and sacred landscapes created by the Hopewell culture. Through its monumental design, burial practices, and ceremonial precision, the site reveals a people deeply attuned to spiritual tradition, community cohesion, and the cosmic rhythms of nature. As one of the finest expressions of Hopewell religious and architectural achievement, Seip continues to inspire awe, inviting modern audiences to reflect on the enduring legacy of one of ancient America's most profound civilizations. Arledge Mounds, a rare monument of the Adena culture. Tucked into the landscape of Pickaway County, Ohio, the Arledge Mounds offer a rare and fascinating glimpse into the world of the Adena culture, one of the earliest known mound-building societies in the eastern woodlands of North America. These ancient earthworks, composed of two conjoined burial mounds, are unique among Ohio's thousands of mounds, not only for their structure, but for what they may reveal about the ritual, social, and engineering practices of the Adena people, who lived in the region from approximately 1000 BCE to 200 BCE. Unlike the more commonly isolated burial mounds attributed to the Adena, the Arledge Mounds are joined together, forming a figure 8 or peanut-like shape, which is exceptionally rare in Ohio. While the exact reason for this conjoined configuration remains a mystery, its distinctiveness has made the site a point of archaeological intrigue and scholarly debate. Such a design may suggest that the mounds were constructed in stages, possibly to commemorate separate events or individuals within the same lineage or community, or that they reflect symbolic dualism, a theme common in Native American cosmology, representing balance, cycles, or opposing forces. As with other Adena sites, the Arledge Mounds were likely constructed over prepared floors or wooden charnel houses, where bodies were cremated or laid to rest. After the ritual use of these structures, they were intentionally burned or dismantled, and then covered with layers of soil, forming the rounded mounds visible today. Although the Arledge Mounds have not been extensively excavated, the burial practices of the Adena are well documented at similar sites, and typically include grave goods such as stone tools, beads, copper ornaments, and shell artifacts, indicating both spiritual beliefs and social hierarchy. The Adena culture is often considered the foundation of mound-building traditions in the Ohio Valley, preceding and influencing later cultures such as the Hopewell and Fort Ancient. Adena mounds were not only burial sites, but also ceremonial centers, reflecting a society that was deeply spiritual, artistically skilled, and connected through trade networks spanning hundreds of miles. The construction of conjoined mounds, like those at Arledge, demonstrates a sophisticated understanding of engineering and symbolic form, achieved without metal tools, draft animals, or wheeled transport. In addition to their cultural and architectural uniqueness, the Arledge Mounds are valuable as part of a broader archaeological landscape in central Ohio. Pickaway County, like much of the Scioto River Valley, was a hub of prehistoric ceremonial activity, dotted with mounds, enclosures, and settlement sites. The survival of the Arledge Mounds into the present day, despite agriculture, urban development, and looting that have destroyed many similar sites, underscores the need for protection and further study of Ohio's ancient heritage. Currently, the Arledge Mounds remain on private land, limiting public access and formal archaeological investigation. However, their inclusion on historical site registers ensures a degree of recognition and legal protection. Archaeologists and indigenous advocates alike continue to emphasize the importance of preserving such sites, not just for academic interest, but for their spiritual and ancestral significance to Native American communities. In conclusion, the Arledge Mounds are a remarkable example of the diversity and complexity of ancient indigenous ceremonial architecture. Their rare conjoined design makes them stand out among the thousands of mounds left by the Adena culture across the Ohio Valley. While much about the site remains unknown, the Arledge Mounds offer a tantalizing glimpse into the spiritual life, ritual practices, and cultural creativity of a civilization that laid the groundwork for centuries of mound-building traditions in ancient America. As archaeological interest in such sites continues to grow, the Arledge Mounds hold the potential to reveal deeper truths about the earliest chapter in Ohio's prehistoric legacy. Ratcliffe Mound, a solitary enigma of prehistoric Ohio. Deep within the wooded hills of Vinton County, Ohio, lies one of the state's most mysterious and least understood ancient earthworks, the Ratcliffe Mound. Rising 14 feet high and spanning 86 feet in diameter, this circular earthen structure stands in quiet isolation, far removed from the clusters of ceremonial centers typically associated with Ohio's more prominent prehistoric sites. While its modest appearance might initially seem unremarkable, the Ratcliffe Mound's unknown origin, unexplained purpose, and remote location make it an enduring archaeological enigma and a subject of continued curiosity and research. Unlike many of Ohio's better-known mounds, such as those attributed to the Adena or Hopewell cultures, the builders of Ratcliffe Mound remain unidentified. Its form is consistent with burial mounds constructed by the Adena culture 1000 BCE to 200 BCE, which commonly created large, circular earth mounds for funerary purposes. However, no definitive artifacts, such as tools, pottery, or human remains, have been recovered from the site to confirm this association. The absence of such finds has led researchers to consider other possibilities, including construction by a lesser-known local group, a later culture, or even the Fort Ancient people, who were active in southern Ohio until the 17th century. The mound's isolation further deepens the mystery. Most known mounds in Ohio are situated within larger ceremonial complexes or near rivers and trade routes, locations that facilitated travel, gatherings, and spiritual rituals. In contrast, Ratcliffe Mound sits alone in a rural area with no clear ties to other prehistoric sites. Its placement raises important questions. Was this mound meant to commemorate a single important individual or event? Was it a boundary marker, a spiritual node, or the last surviving remnant of a long-lost settlement? Or was it part of a now erased network of smaller, scattered ritual sites that once dotted the region? To date, little excavation has been conducted at the site, largely due to preservation concerns and its location on private land. Without formal archaeological study, researchers rely primarily on aerial surveys, surface observations, and comparisons with better documented mounds to speculate about Ratcliffe's function. Some experts suggest that the mound's uniform shape and construction indicate it was likely used for burial purposes, while others consider it might have held ceremonial or astronomical significance given the broader cultural context of Ohio's mound-building peoples. Despite the lack of definitive conclusions, the Ratcliffe Mound is valuable precisely because it resists easy classification. Its ambiguity challenges archaeologists to revisit assumptions about prehistoric life in the Ohio Valley, and encourages a broader consideration of how small, localized groups may have participated in shared spiritual traditions. without building vast complexes like those found in Newark or Chillicothe. As such, it underscores the diversity and nuance of ancient Native American societies, many of which left subtle yet profound marks on the landscape. Today, the Ratcliffe Mound stands largely undisturbed, surrounded by forest and protected by its relative obscurity. However, it remains a target for future archaeological research, especially as new technologies such as ground-penetrating radar and LiDAR mapping make non-invasive exploration more feasible. Any new information gleaned from the mound could significantly advance our understanding of the region's ancient past, potentially linking it to known cultures or revealing previously unrecognized ones. In conclusion, the Ratcliffe Mound serves as a compelling reminder that Ohio's ancient history is not only preserved in monumental sites, but also in quiet, overlooked places that continue to provoke questions. Its unknown origins, solitary location, and absence of artifacts invite deeper inquiry into the complexity of prehistoric lifeways in North America. As one of the state's enduring archaeological mysteries, the Ratcliffe Mound offers both a challenge and an opportunity for those who seek to uncover the deeper narratives of ancient Ohio. Burchenal Mound, a sacred sentinel on the ridge. Overlooking the Mill Creek Valley from the crest of an ancient esker in Hamilton County, Ohio, the Burchenal Mound is a modest yet compelling piece of Ohio's prehistoric legacy. Though only about 8 feet high, this unassuming earthwork commands attention not through its size, but through its strategic placement, unusual setting, and its likely ties to two of Ohio's most prominent prehistoric cultures. The Adena, 1000 BCE to 200 BCE, and the Hopewell, 100 BCE to 400 CE. Its position on a glacial ridge or esker and its structural characteristics make it a site of continuing archaeological significance and mystery. An esker is a long, winding ridge formed by glacial meltwater depositing sediment beneath a glacier. These ridges are relatively rare landforms and are often elevated above the surrounding terrain. The decision to construct the Burchenal Mound atop such a feature reflects deliberate planning. From its vantage point, the mound overlooks Mill Creek, a key tributary in southwest Ohio that would have provided food, transport, and spiritual symbolism for ancient peoples. The mound's panoramic view of the landscape likely held ceremonial or cosmological importance, consistent with the practices of mound-building cultures who often selected elevated or prominent locations for burial and ritual. While there is no definitive archaeological consensus on whether the Adena or Hopewell constructed the Burchenal Mound, its size, shape, and setting allow for informed speculation. The Adena were known for building conical burial mounds, often in isolated or elevated locations. The Hopewell, while typically associated with larger ceremonial complexes and geometric earthworks, also constructed burial mounds and participated in landscape modification for spiritual purposes. The Burchenal Mound's isolated position fits more with Adena patterns, but the potential overlap or reuse by Hopewell peoples cannot be discounted. Although the site has not been extensively excavated, what makes Burchenal notable is not what's been found beneath it, but rather where it stands. In ancient indigenous belief systems, elevated locations were often viewed as closer to the sky world, a domain associated with ancestors, spirits, and celestial bodies. Building a mound atop an esker may have symbolized a connection between earth, water, and sky, elements deeply embedded in native cosmologies. Such a location could have served as a ritual waypoint, burial ground, or spiritual lookout, its very setting an integral part of its function. The Burchenal Mound also carries modern historical significance. It is one of the few surviving mounds in the Cincinnati area, where rapid urban development over the past 2 centuries has destroyed or obscured many prehistoric sites. The mound was preserved thanks to the efforts of local historians and civic leaders, particularly in the mid-20th century, when interest in indigenous heritage began to grow among archaeologists and the public alike. Its survival is a testament to the importance of preserving lesser-known ancient sites, which may hold vital clues to understanding regional cultural patterns. Today, the mound is located on protected land and is part of public outreach and educational initiatives that aim to reconnect communities with Ohio's deep indigenous past. Signage and walking trails help interpret the site for visitors, emphasizing both its cultural context and geological uniqueness. Local organizations have worked to ensure that the Burchenal Mound is not only preserved physically, but also respected as a site of spiritual and ancestral significance. In conclusion, the Burchenal Mound may not rival the size or fame of Ohio's larger ceremonial earthworks, but it stands as a profound symbol of ancient people's relationship with land, spirit, and sky. Its placement atop a glacial esker overlooking a once vital waterway reveals an intentionality and reverence that speaks volumes about the cultural values of its builders. As one of Ohio's quiet but enduring prehistoric landmarks, Burchenal continues to inspire reflection on the sacred landscapes and lost stories of ancient America.